If you're looking for exclusive content, please don't look any further than joining the Trap Talk Patreon family. Some of the best reptile keepers in this industry are part of the Trap Talk Patreon family. As soon as you join the Patreon family, you connect to a Discord. You can also tap into an Instagram group chat, connect with some of the most diverse keepers we have in the reptile hobby today. Shout out to my Patreon members and be ready for Trap Fest 2026. It's going to be one of the biggest events yet. Find all information again in the very first link in the description below. And again, thank you so much to all my fellow Patreon members out there. Cheers. Shout out to US ARC and all the US ARC members. If you don't know what US ARC is, do not be ashamed. Simply click on the third link in the description below. Go to usarc.org. See what it's all about. See how you could actually protect your own collection whenever a legislation might hit your backyard. You just never know. Things are changing constantly in the reptile hobby, and it's good to know when things are creeping up in your area. So shout out to Phil Goss, shout out to Vanessa, shout out to Jeremy, shout out to all the US ARC supporters and teammates out there. Cannot wait to see how much we fight this year to keep our animal rights. And if you're not a US ARC member, talk to your fellow keepers and just let them know what US ARC's all about, and they're here to protect our animal rights. Shout out to US ARC and all the US ARC supporters.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Trap Talk Reptile Network, the coolest reptile network in the world, episode 732, but chapter 2 of the GTP sub-series. Guys, this is going to be epic. I'm your boy MJ. If this is your first time listening, what is good? Do me a favor, hit that like button. And if you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, select all, you'll be reminded of every episode released out of the network 7 days a week. You can find a brand new episode right here. So wherever you listen to any Trap Talk Reptile Network episodes, thank you so much. Means a lot. Give me some feedback in the comments. And yeah, I'm so excited, guys. Listen, learning is what I'm all about. It's crazy to say. I never would have said that when I was younger, but I love learning, and I love chondros. That's a fact. So many different things to learn about chondros. But me, man, I want some OG info. You know what I mean? And that's why we have this series. This is all about tapping in on why there is subspecies in the green tree python world. You know what I mean? And a lot of you guys don't even know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I met Ryan Young. And so, listen, we're going to get down to business tonight on chapter 2. I shout out to all the Aru lovers, all the yellow neonate lovers. For sure, I'm going easy on yellow neonates. I have to tonight. Tonight, it's all yellows for sure. But just talking to Patrick Holmes during sound check, dude, some of the most beautiful snakes we have on this earth are yellow neonates in a sense, like ones that aren't watered down, or I guess muddied up, like Ryan would say, or something fucked up. I don't know. But listen, so excited again, okay, because this is definitely going to be some love for all the yellow neonate lovers out there. And yeah, you guys are in for a treat. I want to say shout out to everyone in the chats, man. You guys are awesome. I want to say thank you also for all the feedback. I know a lot of you guys are excited for this series, as I am. So yeah, man, thank you so much. So I want to say shout out to tonight's sponsor, ZooMed, definitely the leader in this industry when it comes to reptile products. Check out ZooMed's website in the description below, and also check out their new products that they just launched. My favorite product being the Slither Sense right now, and I'm just starting to use it, and dude, on point. I love it. So guys, again, ZooMed, check them out on IG. You can see them at all major reptile shows. Thank you to ZooMed and the entire ZooMed team for being a leader in the industry for just shy of 50 years now. That's epic, man. Thank you so much. Also, tonight's episode is brought to you by Josh Hansen over at Workshop Reptilium. Josh is definitely doing things different when it comes to enclosures, and he's not skipping any steps, all right? And he keeps some of the badass species that you could keep in this hobby. So lots more to come with Josh Hansen. For now, check him out on Instagram. Check out his website. You can see all his enclosures. And again, be ready for some awesome collaborations with Workshop Reptilium and Trap Talk. Thank you so much, Josh Hansen. Also, tonight's episode is brought to you by the Reptile Perch, #1 perches in the game. Shout out to David Brahms, man, such a G. I mean, because not only is our perches in all my focus cube habitats, but his chondro game is just no joke. All right, he works with an amazing line of monoquery and has some other amazing potent designer stuff that he has going on. But yeah, check him out. David Brahms, the Reptile Perch on IG, and also go to his website to find your next perch for your reptile. Okay, the reptileperch.com. Also on IG, like I said. And thank you so much, David Brahms over at the Reptile Perch. And then somebody who's going to be listening tonight, or if not tonight, maybe tomorrow, Mark Hager. All right, the yellow neonate advocator. Did I say it right? Anyways, Texas Chondros, man. My boy Mark is just an awesome person, first and foremost, because he puts on so many breeders out of the state of Texas out on his platform. And if you want to check that out, go to TX Chondros on Instagram and also follow him on Facebook as well. He just posted one of his nice snakes one of his nice chondros that just had an ovulation. I believe it's a Lyra to some potent stuff. Check it out. My bad, Mark. But Texas Chondros, again, on IG and Facebook. Follow Mark's work. Be ready for some amazing production out of Texas Chondros. And you can find all the links in the description below. Also, shout out to Brian Susan over at Sundown Reptiles. If you're looking to get your next kahua, your green tree, or tree monitor, check this guy out right now. He's definitely one of the goats in the game. You can find out Brian Susan's information in the description below. Follow him on IG and on YouTube. And yeah, looking forward to bringing Brian back on the show here real soon and catching up. So thank you so much, Brian Susan over at Sundown Reptiles. Last but not least, shout out to MORPH Market and MORPH Market shipping, dude. Definitely get your next reptile on MORPH Market. I heard there's a trap production right now on MORPH Market. I don't know. That's the rumor. So go check out maybe what I have, the trap exotics on MORPH Market. But guys, make sure you are shipping with MORPH Market. It's the best way to save money first and foremost. But the customer service is top tier. And MORPH Market itself, the biggest brand in the reptile industry. And that's a fact. Thank you so much, MORPH Market and MORPH Market shipping. And yeah, guys, I'm excited. All right. I want to get this show on the road. I got my two boys in the back who are ready to give you a good show. You know what I mean? Ryan Young in the building and Patrick fucking Holmes, man. What an episode you guys are in store for. This is episode 732 coming at you right now. So do what you got to do to get hydrated and do what you got to do to get your mind right. Chapter 2, Aru, Southern Mainland, and Cape York, Australia coming at you right now. Let's go.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up, rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up, rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up, rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up.
And we are live, episode 732, chapter 2. Welcome back, boys. Welcome back.
How's it
Hey,
going?
what's going on, man?
Fucking Ryan, dude. This is all you, buddy. And then, yeah, of course, Patrick. But God damn it, Ryan. I know you're ready for this episode, buddy. I really know you are. Out of all the series, you got to say, is this one of the ones you're most excited about, you would say?
Yeah, I mean, Viridis and Polker are my favorite chondros, so it's definitely in my wheelhouse.
All right. So what are we getting into tonight, boys? Let's talk history, I guess. Ryan, what's the because first and foremost, like I was telling both of you during sound check, I'm so wet behind the ears when it comes to this specific species, subspecies. So I don't know if you want to start demographic history or like what you want, but take it away, Ryan. Let's get right into it, bro.
Well, we'll do the real nerdy stuff first, and that is to say the OG, the very first chondro ever described, was described in 1872 by Hermann Schlegel, which was a German guy. and he was the director of the Natural History Museum in Leiden. The man who collected the 2 sin-type specimens was named Herman von Rosenberg, and he was a draftsman mainly in Sumatra before becoming a civil servant, and then working in the Moluccas and Western New Guinea. Most of these guys seem to have more of an interest in birds, but also collected reptiles and bugs. And he started collecting specimens in 1865 for study and classification by the previously mentioned Herman Schlegel at the Leiden Museum in the Netherlands. So that's
1800s is wild to think about. Like 1865, like they cared about that shit during then. Like I could have sworn 1800s. I don't know what year was that for 1800s. Is that the Western days or?
Well, they were looking for predominantly coal and resources. Europe was looking for resources in other parts of the world, and so the Dutch and the Germans and the British were all over there trying to figure out who can run what. So didn't work out too well for them. Most of their early forts failed as the natives weren't having it.
So what would that lead into?
I read a bunch about all the forts they tried to start, and it just between them getting sick and they couldn't get supplies from Java fast enough, they all left and pretty much quit trying. But there is a geographical reason why chondros from Meru were the first chondros in science, and that is because Ambon and Ceram, which aren't far from Meru, was basically the jumping off point for European exploration of New Guinea. And so the first chondros they would have likely come across would have been in their first stop. And it appears that was the case because the Rosenberg did end up going all around New Guinea and up to the top and do Biak and all that stuff. So,
and on this map right here, what area are we talking about, Ryan?
Aru is the big, like the one with the 2 green dots on the far left in the south.
That's Aru right there. So that's
there's 2 big islands and there's like 90 little islands in an archipelago right there.
Wow. And then I know we're going to talk about Meraukes stuff as well, which is not on that island or is on that island.
No, there are no chondros in Meraukes. They call them Meraukes chondros because they get exported out of Meraukes.
Oh,
but
one of those.
They're actually north of there. The reason why there's chondros on Aru is because Aru was part of the Sahul continent when the R4C didn't exist, and that was all tropical savanna between northern Australia and southern New Guinea.
Do people live on that island, or is there like?
Yeah, people have inhabited Aru for roughly 40,000 years, I think. Is what I read.
Okay, and what's that?
They walked there; they didn't boat there.
How do you walk? Wait, what? Wait, hold on.
It was connected to the mainland originally.
Yeah, Aru, during glacial maximum periods, the water level was roughly 400 feet lower, and Aru was a highland in the Sahul continent, they called it.
Well, that's scary to think about. That means
that's why you have cassowaries on Aru and stuff because they walked there.
So throughout time, stuff that had land is now covered in water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that whole area down between Cape York, southern New Guinea, Aru, that was all one giant landmass.
Yeah.
And then there was a lake carpenter.
Where's Cape York at? I'm sorry. Where's Cape York?
Cape York's the little green dots way down on northern Australia.
Okay, got it. Okay,
it's the northernmost part of Australia. That's why there's a lot of the same animals also that are in Cape York that you see in New Guinea and Papua New Guinea, because it was all connected at one point.
And why is it great? Why is it grayed out?
Because that's not where the chondros aren't anywhere but those little areas.
Okay, so there's a slight. Okay, I see now. There's a shade bit of green in the gray. It's other than so that's okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's basically down there. It's the Iron Range, Micklerath Range, and 2 other ranges I think have chondros.
Okay, so let's continue because you mentioned Meraukes is just Meraukes because where it's being sent out of. And I heard obviously that's the case of many things. Me and Pat were talking about certain importers getting stuff in that they don't really know what they have and they just label it as it comes in. But if we're talking about Meraukes not being Meraukes, what should it be called? Should it be called an Aru technically, or like What do we
No,
what
it
should it be
should
really
just be
called?
called a Southern New Guinea green python.
Southern
Well,
New
and-
Guinea. That sounds boring.
To be fair with the Meraukes thing, it's kind of there's a similarity between that and Manokwari. Meraukes is the city, but it's also a regency, so like a much bigger area. And there's a Meraukes is a port city, so chondros that are collected all north of there are going to be exported from the city of Meraukes. Formerly, Meraukes was a much bigger regency, and that regency did expand into areas where there is green tree python habitat and where there are wild chondros. But that's not the case anymore. That regency has been broken down into multiple smaller regencies. And it's much smaller now than it was. I can't remember what year that it got split up, but this is recent history, like last 10 or 15 years or something like that.
Okay.
And
Yeah, you could probably call them Tanamera would probably be more accurate.
Yep. Yeah, Tanamera. And then also you've got like your there are some animals that are like border PNG or maybe even from PNG that are being labeled as Meraukes and coming out from there.
All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty dubious about that stuff.
What do you mean dubious? Can you explain that, Ryan, please?
I don't think most of the animals people call PNG animals came from PNG.
Right. So, and again, it's too late to do anything about it, right?
Well, it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't matter. Even if it came from PNG and it's a southern animal, it's the same snake. I mean, the snakes don't know that there's a political border.
Well, it's just like the thing with the Meraukes regency getting split up into smaller regencies. It's not like the snakes are still the same, and they're still in the same places, regardless of what humans call those places or where we move the borders around to or whatever. And when we do the Pulsar episode, we'll talk even more about that because the same thing happened up there.
Yeah.
Shout out to Lisa. She's pretty gangster, but I think she's talking about she's talking about what I asked, what should we name it? And she's saying Oskibil.
Yeah. Oskibil is an actual locality, and there are scrubs and chondros up there. The cool thing, somebody was pointing this out to me the other day. We were talking about it. Maybe Aiden Bradley. Oskibil is one of those localities that's on the mountain range that separates the north and the south. And there are northern and southern green tree pythons right there in very close proximity to each other. I think Dan made a comment once about finding northern and southern types like 10 miles apart or something like that once.
Yeah, I mean, on the far other side, they're literally, you can across the river, and it's not a river that should separate them that much.
Yeah.
And there's northerns on one side, southerns on the other.
So this is an Oskip. Say that again, dude. I'm sorry.
It's Oskibil.
Oskibil. Okay, so you sent me this pic saying Oskibil, but goddamn, this thing looks different. Like this doesn't look like the Meraukes
It just
stuff.
looks like an old fucking Meraukes.
I mean, it looks like it's from hell.
So here, she was that's an animal that came in through Bushmaster, and Brian Fisher had her on loan from Ryan, and she was a monstrous chondro, big old dinosaur head. But the thing is, man, that if you look at the PNG animals, like as you go further east into PNG, the southern types, a lot of them start to have more of this look where they've got bigger, longer dorsal markings. There, you get pinks and oranges in the dorsal stripe that is normally white and Meraukes types, and you start to see that dark wash that runs down the neck, and the spine becomes more prominent. And also, the neonates from those localities tend to get like a blaze look, like a red wash down their spine that we never see in Aru, and I've never seen in Meraukes type that were born from white striped Meraukes.
I mean, this thing just looks different, bro. Like this, I mean, it almost looks like an emerald got to it or something. Like it's not because I'm gonna pull up a Meraukes here, and it's blatantly like clear as day. I mean, this thing is clean as shit, owned by Ryan. I definitely want, you know, here's the thing too, Ryan, because I don't see a lot of these in the hobby. Like, what happened? Like, why are these so hard? I feel like to get your hands on now.
I don't know that I know the answer for sure. I know what I've heard from the, you know, the farm people and stuff, and it's just there's the licensing systems over there to collect. It's not a free for all like we think. It's just like a free for all, people running around in the jungle collecting stuff.
Shit, yeah.
Technically, if you have to be licensed by the Forestry Service or their equivalent thereof to collect. And I guess I'm assuming, and then there's quotas for how many chondros, and they don't differentiate the north and the south. It's all viridis to them. So if you have an established trade route with somebody in Biok and you can get all the chondros that you want out of Biok, there's not the incentive to get them out of Meraukes. And so my guess is whoever used to be down there isn't down there anymore, or there's just not enough demand. You know, COVID happened. Maybe somebody didn't, you know, do it anymore. I don't think it's all speculation, but you don't, and it's not a very stable place. My understanding too is that politically, geopolitically, it's not very stable. So
What do you think, Pat?
there's a certain amount of danger being there.
I don't know anything about the reduction in the numbers. I just know the numbers are low. I got in 4 of them in late 2024, and I can't remember where I saw the numbers, but somewhere I saw the number, like a breakdown of all the chondros that came out of Indonesia, that went to all over the world, the total number, and then the breakdown for like individual areas. And you know, every year, like the Biak numbers are like way higher than everything else, like far and away higher. And then it's Sorong and Aru are the next 2 highest numbers. But, and you know, Biaks is, you know, we're talking about, you know, whatever. I'm just throwing a number out there, you know, 2,000 Biaks or whatever. With Meraukes, it was double digits. It was like 42 Meraukes came out of Indonesia that whole year and went to all over the world. So the fact that I got 4 of them in all on one shipment was pretty wild to me.
Yeah, and what's crazy is, well, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but I got some stuff that you sent me, Patrick, that looks like it's almost both Meraukes and Aru. Like, it looks fucking pretty insane. And I this might not be one of them. I'll pull up other examples, but you know, again, if we're talking about something that is considered the same subspecies, but then it actually does something different when you put the 2 together, how are they considered the same? Like, I'm confused.
Well, first, let me say,
that's
Southerns are a full species. They're not a subspecies.
Yeah.
Okay, so Southern is a full species.
All by itself.
All by itself. Okay, I'm listening.
And they're drastically genetically different from the North.
Yeah. Yeah, and possibly, like, I mean, look, this is just based on morphology, and I don't know enough about taxonomy to like really solidly say this, but it wouldn't surprise me if somebody tried to split it up into multiple subspecies at some point. And to me, there's some pretty dramatic differences. So that's an Aru, and so is the one you just showed.
This one right here.
Well, that one is an Aru. That's a Meraukes.
Okay, so Aru, Meraukes. Okay, so here we have the 2 side by side right here.
Yep. Yeah, I took those 2 pictures in the exact same spot, like 3 minutes apart, under the exact same lighting.
What's this one, Pat?
I don't know who. Oh, that's one of Brian's pictures. That's an Aru, I believe. That
Latimer?
like, no. Brian Fisher.
Oh, Fisher.
I sent you a whole group of and it can be kind of confusing. The difference when you see the white striping and the white scale arrangement on Aru versus Meraukes, sometimes Aru have the the striping, but it's almost always broken. And then there's also like little triangles of white coming off. Whereas Meraukes tend to have the striping with very little of the
Broken.
kind of broken stuff coming off of it.
It's more solid.
Yeah, and the very first batch of pictures that I sent you, or first two batches, were all stuff that Brian sent me.
I love you, Pat, but you didn't follow my simple instructions. I said don't send them in a bulk group because it's so important. I can't pull them off Facebook.
Yeah, I know.
It's all good.
I forwarded those to you the way that he sent them to me. I should have like individually saved them and sent them.
You're good. But yeah, go ahead and continue. I'm sorry.
Well, no, that's it.
All right. So where do you want to take things next here, Ryan? What do we what's on the agenda?
Well, I mean, as we talked about earlier, the southern species only has yellow neonates. There's reasons that might be. Maybe the yellow came, the specimens that started the southern population were only yellow, or they had red, lost it, and are now all yellow. Morphologically, it appears that the southern animals probably came from the, the east side and came around, because the animals over there do share more characteristics with the north. They have a more bold blue spine pattern and a sharp tail. So, they probably came under the Huon Peninsula and the bird's tail.
Aru animals have as he's also referencing the fact that like the further west you go, the more blunt the tail tips get. Meraukes animals don't have a fully blunt tail, but it's not as sharp as like a biak. But Aru animals have very, very blunt tail tips. It almost looks like they're missing a scale off the tip of their tail.
Yeah, my personal thought is that the northern animals are the basal population, and the southern animals branched off very early from that, and they either didn't ever have red in their genes or they quickly got rid of it. And the tail seemed to, part of my theory is based on, I wonder, evolutionarily there's not, if you've gotten a lot of wild-caught chondros, you'll see how a ton of the wild ones have stubby tails. And whether it's from stuck sheds, animals biting the tails, whatever it is. And I feel like the southern animals are evolving to lose the sharp tail in the process of speciation. And as we've discussed, the further west you go, with Aru being the furthest west, they have the bluntest tail of all of them.
Yeah. So based on what you meant, go ahead, Pat.
I was just going to say, my guess being that they're heavy caudal lurers and lizard eaters as juveniles. My thoughts around all the stubby tails that you see is they just get, like Ryan said, just get bit off, the tip bit off by, either predators or things that they're trying to lure specifically. And I also wondered about Aru tails, if the shape wasn't different because of selection for some like luring success based on that shape of the tail.
Yeah, I don't know. Aru is interesting because at least all the babies I've hatched, they either hatch with a black tail, or it's dark purple, and then by the time that, like a couple weeks, it's jet black. And most of the stuff like Pulcher, it takes a while for the black to come in.
Oh yeah.
And Uterensis has no dark pigment or very little on the tail. And I haven't seen enough Meraukes to make and Australian babies to know if they have black tails or not.
I don't think they do.
But then the interesting thing about Arus too is that most of the adults don't have a solid black tail. They have black fleckles or speckles, or it goes away completely. So they have the darkest tail as a baby, and then, which to me means they might be the most, diverged, because they don't need the lure as much as an adult as they do as probably an infant for hunting skinks during the day. So they seem like they're the most, they've got the color when they need it and don't have it when they don't. and they don't have the pointy tail, which is probably a liability in some regard, or else they would still
The
have it.
luring thing is always really interesting to me, like because they're like different localities can have like different kind of styles of movement with their luring. And something I've noticed raising a bunch of Beox is that baby Beox are the craziest, heaviest lurers, but adult Beox, in all of the Beox that I've kept, I've only ever seen one adult luring one time. And I'm not saying there aren't individuals that do it, but whereas all the other types of chondros, designers, and other localities, I see adults with their tail dropped luring, not super frequently. It kind of tends to be on an individual basis, but that's the whole luring thing, and tail color is always something that's just been kind of fascinating and mysterious to me. And like Ryan was saying, the Aru, they're born with that black tail, and then it just mostly or entirely disappears with maturity, but it stays very blunt. And Aru sometimes have like a blue tail as adults, and then it'll have some black flecks on it. Really neat looking.
Yeah, and then there are cases of certain subspecies of green tree pythons that have an all green tail, right? I forget which ones they are, but I mean, I've definitely seen localities
can have a green tail.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so like culture types all develop a black tail, but then they lose the black on their tail tip to varying degrees with maturity. And for some strange reason, that happens in most cases to a much lesser degree when they are captive bred and raised than when they're wild. Because I've seen every adult poultry that I've ever seen that had just an ink dipped black tail, and that's a lot of them. They were all captive bred and raised animals. And then, but almost all of the wild adults that you see come in have varying degrees of black that's been lost from the tail. I'm not sure why that is, but
you mentioned earlier, Ryan, I think the late 1800s about that chondro being discovered. That was the first chondro ever be discovered was an Aru, or
yeah, the original description was based off 2 specimens, so they're called syn types when there's multiple. And then they were he described them in 1872, and they were likely collected in 1865.
Okay, damn, that's interesting. Now, obviously, there's red and yellow neonates. What's the story of why there is no red neonate Arus? Well, what would be the reason for that?
Well, as we kind of hinted at, either the South never had red babies, i.e. their founder animals were already yellow, or they were selected against for whatever reason, environmental pressures, and yellow is a recessive trait. So once the population is yellow, a red disappears.
Okay, so and again, I've asked this question before, but I forgot. So the first chondro to ever be on Earth would have been a red neo.
Well, my theory, I mean,
theoretically,
my personal belief is Uterensis is the most basal chondro. And you have to remember, at some point, their ancestor was not green. All other pythons are brown, gray, the earthy color. So they would have had a common ancestor. Their closest relatives are Carinata and carpet pythons, and those are, brownish colored snakes. So they would have been a brown colored snake. At some point, when they started to turn green, their babies would have been probably a dark brownish red, and then they became red when the snake turned green. And then theoretic green, the thing we love about the red babies is the interesting color change, but biologically that is probably not the greatest thing. And so the evolution is selecting for a faster, more efficient way to turn green. And you might even have a situation someday like emerald tree boas where you could potentially have them being hatched green and never even have a yellow phase at some point, if you could fast forward millions of years. Because it's just evolution is just trying to find the most fastest way to go from the baby color to the adult color.
Well, we do see in emeralds that are born green, and that's what they are. And then you also have other cases where I've seen orange looking fucking emeralds before, like northerns.
Yeah, and if it takes millions of years if the green babies survive at, let's just throw out a number, 25% more than a red baby, eventually you get to where all the adults were green, their babies are probably going to be predominantly green, and you extrapolate that out millions of years, and then you never knew they had a red baby at one point. And whether chondros will ever get there or not, who knows? I don't know if they will. They're probably just gonna be a yellow baby that turns green really fast, and that'll be that.
And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, right, Ryan? You know, a yellow snake that turns green's okay, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're all supposedly green python fans, and yet it seems like we don't want green pythons.
Go ahead, Pat.
Two things. One, I was just going to say that we could also, to complicate things further, we could introduce the question of whether or not they're like what the evolutionary advantage is of the neonates being different colors and why they were selected for that in the first place, and whether or not being a green neonate right out of the egg would even be advantageous in any way other than not having to go through a color change. But
yeah,
like I said, that just makes it even more complicated because I don't know the answer to any of those questions. There's a lot of speculation about why it may be advantageous, and the best answer that I've heard for people have compared baby chondros to flowers and caterpillars and all kinds of other stuff. The best explanation that I've heard is that baby green tree pythons tend to hunt right off of the ground during the day, and the colors of neonates resemble the colors of dead and dying fallen leaves down in the leaf litter on the ground. And I had a friend of mine, it's actually his birthday today, send me, that's John Sloan, he sent me a picture that he took in Australia of a neonate green tree python hunting 3 inches off of the ground from a little stick. And most of the leaves are dead and brown, but the recently fallen leaves are yellow, and there's just a few of them. And that little yellow baby from 15 feet back looks just like another dead yellow leaf there on right above the ground. It's a pretty cool picture. And again, just a theory, but it's the one that makes the most sense to my brain.
Yeah. So, I mean, for instance, like it's not common to see green tree pythons on the ground, period, even in the wild, would you guys say? I mean, I have a photo that you sent me, Pat, that looks like one was maybe put on the ground. But I don't know if you guys could see that.
That Lake Katubu animal was found crossing the road from from what I understand.
Lake what?
Lake Katubu, that's a PNG locality. Yeah. Those are the ones that are supposed to be like, when they were coming in, they were being called giants and all this stuff. And the two that I sent you that have the black wash down their back, that's the same locality. And if you'll notice, that animal right there, which was literally photographed on a road outside of Lake Katubu, very closely resembles that animal that Brian Fisher had. And, that's another one. And there were rumors that those things get like 9 feet long or some shit like that. I do know that I have seen a male stateside that a friend of mine had that was over 6 feet long. So, and I had multiple guys say that when they were in Indonesia at the farms, saw males that were over 6 feet long. And so we're theorizing that if the males got that big, that maybe the females could be significantly larger. Another thing that's interesting to note about these southern localities, look at the girth of that animal relative to its length. There are some people that would see that chondro in captivity, Nick Mutton, that would say it was morbidly obese. And
I mean, this snake is eating good.
Yeah, no, seriously. But and it's actually not rare to see adult female chondros that have been eating good in the wild. I've seen plenty of adult female chondros, pictures of them actually in the wild, and animals that were freshly imported that were really like beefy animals with amazing musculature. But southern types aren't just a more like heavy body; they have a more rounded cross section than so like Beox, especially, wild Beox, they have that really sharp spine look to them, right? That like almost a triangular cross section. Whereas the southern types a lot of times are a bit more rounded. That's Maori. That's a really well-known Meraukes female that Andrew Amon used to have here in Texas, and she produced some really, really nice litters. That's why I threw her in there. It was just kind of a cool.
What do you pair her to? Another Meraukes, or what do you pair her to?
No, he
God,
did all.
no. Nothing worth doing.
I didn't know the answer.
That
dude, I
chondro
swear.
doesn't mean shit to me. I'll tell you that much.
To my knowledge, at the time when I remember when she was alive, and I don't remember anybody else in Texas even having another Meraukes other than maybe if the Barkers still had some back then. But no, he paired her to 3 different males. One of them was a Cyclops named Palin. One of them was a Wamena named Ajax. And I used to have a Palin Nari, and I actually ended up getting Ajax later. And that Ajax clutch was all red, so Ajax was Dom red. I know some people don't like that term, but and then the other male was a high yellow line male named Yak, and there was some. They called that a sleeper clutch because there ended up being some crazy high yellow babies come from that clutch. But I just threw it in there because I always thought she was a really nice example with the cool white stripe, but her shade of green was a bit different than what I normally see in Meraukes types.
Okay, so and then with this right here, I believe you told me this is a mix between a Meraukes and a Aru.
I don't have any mixes. That one right there, yeah, no, that's a wild caught Meraukes. And you can't really see it in that picture, but that thing's right eye, so the eye that you can see on the left has a really wonky, like offset pupil. It's pretty cool little.
Oh, I can see it. Yeah, it has like a Marilyn Manson thing going on.
Yeah, another thing, the Arus usually, at least when they're young, have blue sides, and Meraukes typically have yellow sides, but you occasionally see a Meraukes with blue sides. I think that animal you were talking about with the weird color green, they tend to be a little weirder looking if they have the blue sides versus the yellow.
And all 3 of the Meraukes that I have, they all have like a very lovely rich yellow on their ventral scales. It's awesome. Really, really nice yellow bellies. I think yellow ventral scales is one of the coolest traits that chondros can have. It's real underrated because you never see it because they're always wrapped up on a stick. But
real quick, what's the history with these two? Because I thought this whole black thing means like UVB burn or some shit. Like I heard it's not legit. So what's the story with these two?
In Beoc animals in captivity, when you blast them with ultraviolet radiation that's excessive, they tend to get this like dark wash down their back, but it doesn't. We actually see it rather than in black. We see it in blue in Poulter and Viridis types also with excessive UV. Their head and their neck will turn blue, and I have people all the time try to argue with me, and I've seen it countless times where it's 100% of the time that they developed that color there was like some type of excessive lighting or whatever. But with this locality, however, while I've only seen a handful of examples with that, it does manifest kind of the same way. And it makes me wonder if just with age and natural UV exposure, they just over time develop the same thing. Because like clearly that animal is not, that's no spring chicken. That's an older snake for sure. And all of the ones that I've seen that had that black wash, and I'm talking about a total of like 3 or 4 photographs ever, they were all massive older animals. And so I'm assuming that it is from UV exposure, but just something that they accumulate with age.
Well, you could also, if they spend a lot of time in a screen cage, you get black like that bruising from rubbing on things too.
Yes, I know, absolutely. And so that's actually my argument. When people try to tell me that their Beoc is special because it's black when it's been being blasted in an Exoterra with a fucking chameleon lights on it or whatever.
Hey, not
But
mine.
I tell them, look at those colors, the blue that we see in Aru and Sorong that get that same thing, or the black that we see on Biak, those are the colors that they scar. And so trauma absolutely can cause that. But that one that's in that screen cage is the only one that I've seen that was kept that way. I've seen at least 3 other ones, individuals that were not being kept like that had that black wash. But Ryan's absolutely right. Like rub marks and scarring, chondros will just scar.
Yeah, I mean, that snake could have spent weeks in a bag going from wherever it was collected before it got, that's I mean, the female I had that just laid a clutch, she's the worst pacing chondro I've ever owned. She's been a pacer since the day I got her, and her nose is just this dark greenish black because she just won't sit still.
Well, the thing that stands out to me with that locality specifically in the southern PNG stuff in relation to that black wash is in every one of those animals that I've seen with the black wash, the black followed the exact same pattern. It starts on the back of the head and top and the back of the head, and it's like a sooty black. It runs down their spine. It becomes wider past the neck, and then it tapers off. You can see in that picture how it still has that black band down the spine. And that certainly could be explained by like some type of rubbing going down their back as they move. But the reason it's interesting to me is you can see in some of these animals, it actually kind of follows a little bit of the neonate dorsal pattern. Some of the black does. And these exact same localities, Lisa posted some pictures. No, I'm sorry. It was Paul that posted some pictures in that thread on my page. But they have, they're born with this super dark black or super dark red blaze wash down their spine that follows that same pattern. So
you see in Arus, Arus and Meraukes, even if they don't have a lot of white, will oftentimes have a really dark green spine compared to the rest of their body.
Exactly. And then when you get further east, the neonates are born with that dark red wash. And so I don't think it's a coincidence that it like.
Well, we don't know if they all are. The little bit of what we've seen.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Those may be like an individual clutch that happened to have the 2 right parents to get the blaze. But what I do know is it does not occur at all in Aru, and I've personally never seen it in quote unquote Meraukes types.
Yeah, but you can add up the Meraukes litters on 2 hands.
Oh yeah, it's not a lot. 100%.
Most of you were talking about that snake that got bred to everything but a Meraukes, and the sad history of Meraukes in captivity is all of the best female Meraukes that have pretty much come in have all been screwed to any fucking hybrid mongrel male they could find.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah.
I felt that one out of Ryan's voice for sure. But I get it, at the end. But with you though, Ryan, how many pairs do you have? You just have 1 pair?
I only have 1 pair of Meraukes. Like Pat said, they're not easy to come by, and I didn't have the opportunity to get them very often.
Have you never had a clutch of them?
Never bred.
I tried to get a really nice one into Ryan's hands, but something got in the way of that.
Yeah. I have one of the nicest females I've ever seen, and my male's not. I mean, he's not the best. But
let's get the Yo Neon lovers excited. So, you sent me this picture?
That?
Yeah, you sent me this. Okay, this is an Aru. All right, because Arus you have done plenty of, correct?
Yeah, I've had 17 clutches of Arus.
And okay, let's get into this topic if you don't mind, Ryan. Unless there's stuff, because I want to talk about the high whites and why that's something you've been pursuing for so long and just haven't gotten it yet, right? Like you've yet to see an example of going high white to getting a high white offspring. Is that correct, or am I?
No, I've made high white ones.
So off a high white to high white pairing, you make high white ones?
Yeah, it's not every baby, but it's the more in line bred they are, the more it expresses. It's like it gets to be like 80% is the best I've done so far.
And okay, and the highest white you own, Is it one that you produce, or is it one that you've had?
No, I actually I'm trying to think. I currently don't even have a wild Aru left in my collection. Everything I have is captive bred.
Oh shit! Wow.
No.
Okay.
So
Well, what do you want to talk about this yellow, bro? Let's hear it. Come on. If you want
that's
to
just one of my baby Arus. That's just
it's pretty hot. I'm
That's
not gonna lie.
that's a freak of nature right there. I've never seen one like that.
You
It
have
Holy
it?
shit.
Doesn't look
That's
real.
a lot
I
of
love, I love how it's pink inside of the red, and the markings are just nowhere near as uniform as you normally see on RES.
Yeah,
So
usually the Arus kind of hatch out, at least at my house there, the pattern is kind of this reddish brown, and then it turns black before, and then this is kind of in that tweener when it's still got a hint of the red left, but it's turning black before it ultimately turns blue.
yeah,
And how old is this snake, Ryan? Is this from last year?
Yeah, I think that was 20, no, I think it was a 24 animal. Or
So this thing's already
24.
So things already changing then.
Yeah, that one, if it's the one I think it is, it's almost done with its color change.
And how's it looking?
Good, looks real nice.
Yeah. Is it,
You know, the funny thing is, I don't think they ever stop changing. It's not as dramatic as like a, you know, as a Biok type specimen, but the white continues to come in. The blue changes; they get more blue, less blue. And as they get older, they actually start getting yellow in place of some of the blue. A really old Aru will be typically blue and yellow sided, and then alternating yellow and blue belly scales.
I love that.
Once
Love
they
that
get, but
blue
they have to get
and
old. When they're
yellow.
young, it's blue, straight blue. But once they get 10, 12 years old, it starts getting replaced.
That's another thing I've noticed in the I talk about this a lot, but I don't really understand it very well. But there is, without question, these differences are subtle to some people, but if you're as nerdy about it as I am, they're dramatic. But without question, there are serious differences in the coloration of captive bred versus wild caught green trees of the exact same locality.
I agree.
And I can look at an adult chondro, and 95% of the time, and I'm probably not even giving myself full credit with 95%, tell you whether or not it was a wild caught animal based on the shape of the scales and the shape of the head and the various coloration things. Something interesting I've noticed in Aru types is that I've seen a lot more bold blue bellies in wild or in captive bred ones than I have in imports, and I've seen richer yellows on the bellies of wild caughts than I have versus captive bred ones.
I mean, Ryan, you'd agree that it only gets better with captive bred stuff, correct? Like, as far as like the quality of the look of the animal, and like, I mean, things get to the next level when it comes to captive breeding, right?
I mean, it depends what your goal is, I guess. You know, everybody thinks that all wild Arus are high white, and that is so not true. I mean, I've literally looked at hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of photographs in the last 20 years of Arus, and the vast majority of them are low white to no white, and at least 50% are pretty bog standard. Then there's another 20% that are like, oh, that's a decent Aru, and there's really only like 5% that are really crazy. But the problem is, you have, like, if you go back to like the Morelia viridis forum days, the animal that they put for the Aru representative on the amalgam of pictures at the top of the page was one of the most extreme Arus that's ever come in. And so people get it in their head that is like what an Aru looks like. And that's not the case. And even Meraukes, most Meraukes are not perfectly striped from head to tail.
No, there's levels. There's levels to almost add anything, right? I mean, that's kind of like saying all BX are high yellow. Well, that's not the case. Like we all know that's a possibility, which, you know, Pat will definitely agree on. But you're not going to say all of them turn like that. Like, it's kind of uncommon, you would say, right, Pat?
Yeah, for fully mature adults, it's extremely uncommon. And but
right.
the other thing is that I have seen hundreds, maybe not like a bunch of hundreds, but I can confidently say multiple hundreds, as in at least 200 in person wild caught Aru. And then of course, I mean, y'all know how I am with the pictures. I've looked at, you know, over the years, looked at tens and tens of thousands of photos of chondros online. And, but this is something that Ryan and I, there's a little bit of overlap where we like agree and disagree on this, but I say that the absolute highest white Arus that I've ever seen captive bred were still didn't really hold a candle to the highest white wild caughts that I've seen.
Yeah.
And the Aru that get called high white, which this is a European thing, this is not Ryan that does this, but the Arus that get called high white and get posted a lot are comparable to a very, very average wild caught Aru. And like the ones in that picture right there, I don't even call that high white. Like for a captive bred, that's very high white. But for a wild caught, based on the ones that I've seen, the white and and I'm talking about ones I've seen in person, that's like slightly above average white for a wild caught, in my opinion.
So, what do you think of that, Ryan?
Those are both captive bred ones here that I produced.
Yeah, that's very high white for a captive bred.
Well, I meant for his explanation about the high whites, like considering like what could be high white in the wild. This is not. It gets more extreme.
No, yeah, no. I can think of like 10 animals that are just that I've seen over the years, imports that were just mind-bogglingly white. But those are the ones that people use to post as this is what an Aru is, and that's like if you posted that blue cyclops and said this is what a cyclops looks like.
Yes,
that's not the reality. Most of the wild Arus don't even look as good as those two. In my opinion, at least of the ones I've seen.
No, I agree. Those are above average even compared to wild caught, but they are spectacularly white compared to most captive bred ones. And what you were saying about captive breeding making things better, unfortunately, almost nobody ever has done like consecutive selective breeding of pure locality types to try to refine certain traits. But what I can say is that almost 100% of the time, F1 chondros are not as attractive as their parents, as their wild caught parents. That is almost 100% true 100% of the time, that you just almost never see F1 pure locality types that are as attractive as their parents, approaching it and very similar to their parents. But there's something about growing up in the wild that just does something to their color. And white scales in particular are the number one thing you can point at with what I'm talking about. All chondro localities have white scales in the wild. Not every individual, but every locality of chondro that exists anywhere, the adults can have white scales, and some of them can have a shitload. We don't see it very often, but we've seen Utariensis types with either huge white flowers or even like almost a smear of white scales, even if they do still kind of lined up with the dorsal markings. But the highest white northerns that I've seen have been poultry types. Ryan has some poultry that have ridiculous amounts of white on them. And I've seen they're very, very rare, but I've seen a handful of Sorong or poultry types that had white that rivaled all but the most exceptional Aru.
Yeah.
And it does not translate to captive bred. It just doesn't. So it doesn't mean it can't be refined, but it does not translate to F1. We just don't see it. And that's the same thing with a lot of different traits.
Yeah, that particular snake was a wild one, and that was the founder female for my bloodline of Arus.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Ryan,
it's hard to beat a hormonal blue Aru female. That's one of the most strikingly beautiful and blue snakes there is.
She come in blue like that, or did she turn blue with you, Ryan?
When I got her, she was kind of she wasn't as green as she probably was when she was little,
Yeah.
but she wasn't as blue as she turned during her reproductive cycles.
And it's so random with the hormonal thing, like either changing back to its normal after they have a clutch, or sometimes they don't change back, right? Like it's all case by case, correct?
I would say most of them don't go there. I don't think they ever go perfectly back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't even think the
Yeah, they
other
retain
types
little
usually
bits.
never go perfectly back either.
And so you think year after year of this hormonal change, they eventually just go to what they look like when they're hormonal, correct? Is what you're saying? Like,
Yeah, that female in particular was probably the bluest chondro I've ever owned that was that way most of the time. It's still, when she was during a reproductive cycle, she was like holy shit blue, and when she wasn't in a reproductive cycle, she was like that. That's how she looked not reproductive.
Coach Rice in the building. He has a question for you and Pat. Fucking not me, dude. Whatever, dude. For Ryan and Patrick, he even said plus Patrick. Fucking not MJ. Is it reasonable to? I'm just kidding, Ron. Is it reasonable to assume a lot of the most extreme high white animals that have come out of the wild were probably naturally line bred animals born from inbreeding in the wild?
Yes,
I
I think
would-
that's reasonable to assume.
It's the reason why Aru chondros look the way they do. It's not because they're still breeding with Meraukes chondros, and the reason
They're isolated.
all of these snakes, they don't travel that much, and when a snake in an area dies, more than likely the snake that replaces it is probably somewhat related to it, and so I think one of the issues we have with, as Patrick discussed, them not having as consistently high white as their wild counterparts is I genuinely believe there's probably a certain number of genes that create white. It's not all the same. And it's probably like your fingers like this, and if they line up perfectly, you get a lot of white. Otherwise, you get like this, you don't get a lot. And when you're breeding just random high white Arus together, if they didn't come from the same spot and don't have the same genetic history, what made one high white genetically is probably not a perfect match for the other one, and therefore the babies don't express that trait. But when you line breed those babies again, it tends to pop out more. And
Wow.
so
I would agree with that, but I would also add that there may very well be epigenetic triggers related to wild whatever diet and nutrition, or a combination of things or whatever that can trigger those genes to express.
yeah, I think there definitely could be some of that. I think a lot of people think that's the only thing, and they just the reality is, for as long as people have been keeping chondros, and there was a few breedings done early, they didn't get the results they wanted, and they stopped right off the bat. And
Absolutely.
at a certain point, I made it my personal mission to prove you could make a high white chondro, or at least a comparable to most wild chondros, because when I paid attention, because I used to believe that. I used to believe all the stuff everybody told me, you can't make them, it's an impossible dream. And I actually started looking at it and was like, well, nobody's really tried.
Nobody's tried. Nobody's
And so
really tried. You're still the only person.
Yeah, so at one point, I literally got rid of every chondro I owned to just focus on Arus. And
Wow.
to make high white Arus.
You did really? What year was this?
I was like 2009, 2010.
That's so hard.
I sold my Kofiaus. I sold everything.
Dude,
I could be,
love you, dude.
I
That's
could
crazy.
be wrong about this, but I'm not sure. I'm really, really racking my brain. I have been ever since Ryan said this, but you said 17 clutches of Aru that you've produced, right?
Yeah.
I don't know of anybody ever, other than maybe Vladimir at the farm or whatever. But we're gonna talk about private breeders that have produced that many clutches of one locality. I don't know how many clutches of Kofiau Chuck has produced. Maybe he's approaching that number with Kofiau, but I could be way off there. I don't know. He could be over or under, but I just don't know what his numbers are. But he's the only person that even comes into mind. And when I'm really thinking about it, I don't know about, maybe Rico had, I don't know how many BI
I don't think
clutches
Rico. I talked to Rico quite a bit. He didn't have that many pure Viridis clutches. We used to
No, not
actually
Viridis
joke.
at all. Just Biak are the only ones I saw him doing consistently.
Yeah, I
And
used to
even
joke
those.
with Rico that most people have never bred a Viridis, and most people have never even
Yeah.
kept a Viridis, even though everybody says they've bred a Viridis. It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
they are.
I've had, I think nine Biak clutches or something like that. And
Boss.
that's a exceptionally high number of,
Considering who's
Ron
done it.
Smurf, he did a lot of Sauron, but I don't know
Yeah.
that anybody has ever done 17 clutches of any one locality.
I got
outside of maybe
11.
Ron.
I'm at 11 Polker.
That's sick.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah, those are numbers I'm trying to hit over the next few years with the Polter types.
See, okay, listen, I don't mean to interrupt, but I love this so much because this is getting me inspired to do more pure locality projects.
Yes.
Because it does make
Yes.
a lot of sense. Well, okay, relax, Ryan. I'm just saying, it makes a lot of sense why you would want to pursue such a thing. My question for you, Ryan, with a pairing like this, right? I consider this isn't crazy high white. Is it still possible to make a high white off a pairing like this? Like, I mean, in a sense, like, there's super forms in certain incomplete dominant ball python projects and whatnot, right? Like, is it possible that you could still get a high white from a pairing that it has this amount of white on it?
Okay, back up one picture. The last picture you posted.
The blue girl?
No, you had there was a green snake with a white nose scale.
Oh yeah, I'll pull that up.
Well, that snake is the founder male for my line of Arus, and bred to that blue female.
Okay.
So if you pull that guy up,
There he is.
yep. And
So
ironically, he's passed on that white scale. I have 2 of his kids that have that
The nose scale.
with that white scale on one of their noses.
That is
But-
sick.
That's awesome.
That is
That's
sick.
super cool.
That has to be a morph.
Yeah, so
He
is not-
Morph.
yeah, he is a decent Aru. He's not crazy. He's decent. He's not one of the 10 best or nothing like that. And then that blue female, I bred him too. And then, okay, so go back to that pair that's breeding.
Okay.
Well, the male in that picture is their child. And the female he's breeding is from the Chris Ruley lineage. So I'm trying to
Nice.
I'm trying to get the 2 bloodlines together in one snake. But
Who's
anyways,
that? Who is that? Chris, who is that, Brian? I'm just, for anyone wondering who that is.
Chris Ruley had a really nice pair of founder Arus that he bred a few times back in the day, and I actually was fortunate enough to get one of his pairs of F1 holdbacks, and they have made the best captured bred chondros I've ever seen.
Yes. Yeah,
Except
'cause
maybe there's
I-
that snake Tyne Hannibal had or Tina in Europe was
Yeah,
insane.
Tina.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
That's
snake.
super cool.
Yeah, her parents are the 2 snakes I was talking about.
That's
So,
damn.
she's
See,
just
that's
an F.
cool.
But her sister was exceptional. One of the highest white chondros I ever produced. Way better than either of her parents in the first generation.
Jeez.
I might have sent you a picture of her. You'd have to.
Which girl's that?
It's one that
Brian?
has like yellow instead of white. They're kind of yellowish white scales. I think I sent you one photo of her.
Is she over eggs or no?
No. She's just sitting perched.
Oh,
But
I think
that
shit.
snake that in Europe that Tina Hannibal had. I imported that snake and I acquired her.
Tina
And
Hannibal, what a name.
Oh, nice.
that
that's the granddaughter of the snake Tina in Europe had. I produced that
Oh,
snake.
wow.
I produced that snake bred to that male with the white nose.
Oh,
To-
cool. To
and so-
Tina's.
Tina's
the
female never
daughter of
bred
Tina's
for.
female.
Yeah, Tina's female never
Oh,
bred,
okay.
but her daughter bred for me. And this snake is weird because she's
Gotcha.
like a yellow color. She's like this weird
Yeah.
yellowy green. She's never turned all the way.
Yeah.
And then she has these pink and yellow scales.
White inner white scales. Yeah. Yeah, that's so cool.
And she's decent white considering, complete unrelation to the animal that was bred to. That's
I
just that's
vaguely
a,
remember that snake that Tina had.
yeah. It's probably the greatest captive bred Aru I've ever seen.
I can't find any other one that has a yellow, like a yellow in it. These are the
I
only.
might not have sent it to you. I don't know. I sent you a ton of pics, but I guess I don't know which ones.
Is
That's
this
just
one
that's an F1 from those two parents I was talking about.
with
I
the
think
white
that's
spot
the
on the
snake.
nose?
That,
That's the snake that was breeding the blue one in that picture.
Ah, got it.
oh,
Okay.
cool.
But you
I
can
love that
see
blue
how
and
he's
yellow
starting to get the
combo on
yellow,
the
the
belly.
blue and yellow belly.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Oh,
I love that.
Yeah, as they get older, they get that.
that's so badass.
MJ, there's I believe it was the very first batch of pictures that I sent you, were all of Brian Fisher's male. And if you could pull one of those or a couple of those, I think it was in the very first batch. It's all the same snake. He's a wild caught, and he has
Go ahead.
like his whole belly is just clouded blue and yellow, and it's ridiculous. I don't know if I sent you the shots that show his belly really well, but
I can't find honestly, bro, like Facebook pisses me off, man, because like I don't even know. I can't even pull up the bulk group that you have in the group chat. It's not allowing me to pull up anymore. So odd.
I'm gonna
you can send it to me again. If you want, send it to me again if you can, and I'll pull it up. But yeah, you know, kind of going back to things here, Ryan. You know, obviously with your experience producing so many pure Arus, what's the stigma with them being so difficult to establish? True or false?
I haven't found it to be the case. You have individuals. My clutch last year, for some reason, was a pain in the ass. But the same pairing the year before, the babies were easy. So I don't know. I don't know if it was I bred them back to back and they were just kind of, maybe they were a little weaker because the mom had bred the year before. I don't know. But this year's babies were probably the hardest Aru babies I've ever had. But typically, I don't find them to be that much more difficult. I actually had a harder time with my Azuria babies than I did with most of my Aru babies.
Wow.
But,
So I mean,
but I'm not. That's not. I wouldn't go out and say Azuria is harder. I'm saying my one experience with my Azuria clutch recently was they were not as easy as my Aru babies. But so it's just every clutch is different.
all right, real quick, guys, we got to cut to commercial break. Pat, send me that pic. All right, and while we're waiting for that, while that pic's pulling up, I got this quick message from my sponsors, and we'll be right back. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Shout out to tonight's sponsor, and that's the one and only Morph Market and Morph Market Shipping. One of the biggest exciting things about the reptile hobby over the past couple years is Morph Market Shipping taking everything to the next level. Anything as far as reptile purchasing or selling needs can all be done on Morph Market's website, so I highly suggest you go check it out, especially if you're in the market of purchasing your first, second, or third, or fourth reptile. You can find a bunch of legitimate breeders on Morph Market's platforms. They stand very tall on representing the best breeders we have in the hobby, so don't look anywhere else when it comes to looking for your new reptile. Not to mention, if you're looking for aquatics or your next plant, Morph Market's a spot for you as well. Make sure you head over to morphmarket.com, and the best thing about Morph Market's platform, you could ship directly from their website with Morph Market Shipping. Morph Market Shipping has saved this hobby millions of dollars as a whole. I myself saved thousands with Morph Market Shipping last year due to their insanely cheap rates, so definitely go take advantage of these rates on top of the amazing customer service that comes along with Morph Market Shipping. Shout out to Darian and Zach, and shout out to the entire Morph Market team. So proud to be a part of this team. Thank you so much for Morph Market Shipping and Morph Market. So excited to announce this partnership, and so excited to announce new Morph Market features that are going to be hitting the reptile hobby real soon, like live sales on Morph Market. Thank you so much, Morph Market and Morph Market Shipping. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Shout out to tonight's sponsor, Workshop Reptilium. Josh Hansen is doing things different over in his facility. He has one of the most diverse, beautiful reptile collections currently in the reptile hobby today, but he is doing things differently when it comes to enclosures, thinking outside the box, giving these reptiles bigger enclosures. I feel like it's something this hobby needs. So a lot of exciting stuff to come from Workshop Reptilium. I'm going to be flying up to his place to give you guys a deeper look into his facility, and I'm also excited to have an episode with Josh so he can explain himself where his goals are headed when it comes to keeping. Thank you so much, Josh Hansen over at Workshop Reptilium. Make sure you head over to Instagram, make sure you head over to Facebook. Also, make sure you subscribe to him on YouTube. You can find all the links in the description below. Again, thank you so much, Josh, over at Workshop Reptilium. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Tonight's episode is brought to you by David Brahms from the Reptile Perch. If you have an arboreal species, you definitely want to make sure you are using a David Brahms design perch over at the Reptile Perch. You can get any size perch you want for any size arboreal, anywhere from hatchlings all the way from adults. Everything you see behind me is on a David Brahms design PVC perch. So thank you so much to the Reptile Perch for doing everything that you've been doing with these awesome, affordable perches for people to take advantage of. And you can find David Brahms' website in the description below. Simply go to www.reptileperch.com or just go to Reptile Perch on Instagram. And you can also see many of David's awesome green tree python projects. He's also a highly successful green tree python breeder. Been looking up to for the last few years as well. So to have his support really means the world to me. Thank you so much, David Brahms over the Reptile Perch. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Mark Hager over at Texas Chondros. If you want to talk to somebody who likes to put people on the map, you have to go follow TX Chondros on Instagram. He has put on some of the biggest breeders out in Texas, out on his platform on Instagram. Also displays some of his own amazing projects on his Instagram. You could also simply go to his website, see what pairings he has going on for this season, and also see his previous productions. Mark has been working with yellow neonates on top of red neonates, and his passion for this hobby is second to none. He's also mentored a lot of people like myself. So thank you so much, Mark Hager, for all your support. And if you guys really want to know how it is about building a community, then you got to go check out Texas Chondros. Thank you so much, Texas Chondros, for all your support. Cannot wait to see what you're all about in the 2026 breeding season. All right, guys, we're back, and oop, my bad. All right, let me get that up real quick, Pat, and then I got that also from you, Ryan, so we'll pull that up right now. And again, this is from Brian Fisher, you said, Pat, these things that we're looking at?
Yes. Yeah,
All right,
that's all one animal, the last 4 pictures I see.
All right, so go ahead.
So I took that picture right out back of the shop where I'm sitting right now. And when I was at NARBC, this is a few years ago, Brian asked me to keep my eyes open for Aru females. And that animal was on a table and was labeled, it was in a deli cup and labeled as a female. And I knew the seller, and I asked him if I could sex the animal, and sent a picture to Brian. And I sent the picture, and he's like, I'll take it. And I opened up the deli cup, and I pulled this thing's tail out, and it's got giant fucking claws, and I can just tell by the shape of the tail that it's a male and a half. And I told him that. I said, I'm going to put a probe in this thing for funsies, but this is a male. And he's like, I don't care. I'll still take it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look at that thing,
yeah.
dude. Come on, what fucking hybrid looks better than that thing?
So here's the thing. In my opinion, that's the best looking Aru in the United States right now. And but I'm not saying that he's better than other people's. It's that for what I like, which is a lot of white, but also bold blue markings, which is not a common trait to see really bold blue dorsals on an Aru, and to have the combination of the bold blue and the lots of white is great. But you can see the blue on his sides and some of the yellow there, but his entire belly is deep, rich yellow and clouded with sky blue, and it's just fucking amazing. He's big and just an absolutely spectacular animal.
Has he bred for Brian yet?
Oh yes, yeah,
Oh.
yeah, and he's that animal, like.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
If I was to keep it, like, I have a pair of Aru now, but if I was to like that would be like my ideal thing right there, would be to have a pair that looks like that.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
And so I told MJ this in the sound check. I tell people that Southern types are my least favorite localities. Doesn't mean that I don't like them. It means that I like them less than the other ones. I still love every single type of chondro that there is. And if you told me that the only way I could keep chondros would be to keep the plainest green Arus possible, I would just keep a whole shitload of those. Because chondros are amazing no matter what.
I sent you one for you to look at, Pat. MJ, I sent it to you on.
Yeah, I'll pull it up. Which one you wanted? The most. Oh my god.
The one I just sent you. If he likes blue on him, I sent one. That's
shit, Pat. You're gonna like this one. This is fucking insane right now. What's the story? Tell me, Ryan.
That's just an F1. That's just
what?
An F1.
You did that?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
produced her.
Yeah,
Wow, that thing's
that's my
incredible.
jam right
Yeah,
there.
she was from my first clutch in
Oh, that's
2010.
a female too. Wow.
Dude,
Yeah.
all right, Ryan,
I
send
did.
this.
I sent you a picture. That's actually the snake that's getting bred. That's blue, is her.
Oh,
Wow.
badass. I was literally, as soon as I saw her, I don't know, just her color scheme, I wanted to ask if she ever went hormonal. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
that snake that's breeding in that other photograph is that snake.
So look at the blue
That's
in this.
amazing.
Okay, guys,
Yeah.
you're not gonna tell me that's not an effect from captive breeding, like that insane looking blue.
No.
You're gonna tell me they look like that in the wild?
Yep.
Yes, the one
Some.
the one we were just looking at is wild caught.
Yeah, but this
Yeah.
one's different, bro. Like this one, just look at the pattern on the blue here. Like it's different.
You want to know
The
It's
one
what's
that Brian, the
It just
one that Brian has is blue is just as nice as that.
It's
And
different.
wild
I
caught.
know, I get it. I'm not saying there's no high blue stuff in the wild, but like the pattern, this looks like somebody painted this shit. It does not look real from what I don't know. Go ahead.
I have a
That's
funny story
incredible.
with this snake.
Tell me.
I sold it.
What?
Oh, no.
I
You heard
was it was like 20, it was probably 2012. I went to a reptile show in Boise, Idaho.
Oh my
And
God.
I brought her down with me. I wasn't gonna sell her. I didn't want to sell her. And this lady offered me a pretty good amount of money. And since I was a broke snake breeder at the time,
I've been there.
and I was like, God damn it! And I sold her. And a
How
week
much?
later,
How much, dude? I gotta ask. How
oh,
much?
back then it was like $600.
What the fuck, dude?
And
100?
yeah, so then the funny thing is this lady starts. I was afraid to sell her to this lady anyways because she put it in this giant vivarium. It was the only snake she owned. She held it every 5 minutes because she was a lovely manner. And I told her, I go, man, you got to stop handling it and put it in a small cage till it's used to living with you. And of course she didn't listen to me. And so after like 2 months, she's like, I can't get this thing to eat. And I'm like, look, I want it back. I didn't want to sell it in the first place. I want it back. And she was in town. Boise's actually like 8 hours from here. And for some reason, she was up north by me. And I met her at the McDonald's down the street from my
Got
house.
it back.
I got her back, gave her her money back, and I brought it home. And I didn't even take it out of the critter keeper that she gave it to me in, and it ate. and I sent her a photo of it eating, and I said, she just wanted to be home. So.
Oh my gosh, they got her back. What a happy ending.
And
Holy
so now I think she's 16 years old now. She's a 2010. But
And how many clutches have you gotten from her?
I think 2 or 3.
And nothing has repeated this look from that?
I haven't kept every baby, so I can't say. But
Come on, Ryan.
she produces nice stuff.
This is fucking
She's ridiculous.
And again,
It's that the blue and white combo, man. It's so
Yeah,
cool.
it's not all they don't have to be crazy high white if the blue is real good too.
See, like this is more finer. Like, look at they're almost like triangle blues on here. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and
Just really-
Arus also usually have one of the more pleasant greens too.
So nice, dude. But what I'm saying is, like, this is like blotchy right here. Like, this is like blotchy.
Yeah, she has a more rounded shape to the dorsals than that male. But, I mean,
see how it's like, see how far apart they are? Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, it's super cool.
What
Hold
are
on,
you gonna
we see that. No, we see variability in the shape of the dorsals within given localities a lot. You know what? I'm gonna tell a really quick story that's relevant to like locality animals in general. I've told this story on your show at least one other time, and I like to bring it up when we're talking about variability in localities.
Right.
Green tree pythons are an extremely variable snake, and within a given population, there may not be an extreme degree of variability, with the exception of the Biak animals. Like Biak and they're just super variable. And I have three Biaks here that are in quarantine that are all look, I mean, night and day different from one another. But anyways, I was one time running around in the woods, and I found a Texas rat snake, full adult, and like 10 feet away found another one. They're both adults, and they both I'd caught tons of Texas rats in this exact same area, and these two looked completely different than every other rat snake that I found over there, but they were identical to one another. And that made me think two things. Number one, their proximity made me think they were probably a pair that had been breeding or was about to be breeding. It was spring. But the fact that they were so dramatically different from every other snake I'd found in that area. And we're talking about a city park that's, it's not a small park, it's a massive park, but it's still a city park. I'm not talking about a huge wild area. And I thought these two animals have to be siblings to be this similar, which also touches back on what Ryan was saying about inbreeding in the wild based on Chris's question. I absolutely agree that these animals are inbreeding in the wild, and we're getting these traits because they've been so like quote unquote selectively bred in the wild for extreme traits. So a couple of years later, I was out running around with one of my friends, and I saw a rat snake disappear into a refrigerator. And those other Texas rats, they were super light, like the lightest ones I've ever seen, really lots of cream colors and light gray. I see a rat snake disappear into a fridge, and me and my buddy disassemble this refrigerator, and there ends up being two in there, and they're both adults. And one of them was huge. One of them was over 7 feet long. And these animals are like almost solid black, like the black rats you see in Oklahoma, or like northeastern Texas, except they had orange and red and yellow flecking on them. I had never seen two like that ever in person. I had definitely never seen two like that in the area, but these two were identical to one another. They could be, I thought, same thing. These things have to be a breeding pair, and they have to be siblings to be so similar while being so different from all these other ones in the area. All of that in itself is really cool and interesting. The other thing that's cool and interesting about that is that I caught both of those pairs of snakes at the same park about 500 yards away from each other. And they were dramatically different from each other, also dramatically different from all the other Texas rat snakes that I'd caught in that area. And Texas rat snakes are not something that if you ask people to list highly variable snakes, Texas rat snakes don't land really high on that list. So my point is that even within a really tiny population of snakes that aren't necessarily highly variable, you can get a massive amount of variation in the appearance. So with a snake like chondros, when we try to like assign a certain look to it, like we were talking about last time with Num4 looking a certain way from that island or whatever, you can probably in a given population of any chondro or scrub find the full range of variability of that subspecies, like right in a small area.
Yeah, definitely remember that story. But yeah, what's up with this, Ryan?
That's the snake I was saying. That snake has more white than either of its parents in first generation.
Nice.
So
Nice.
I was just trying to demonstrate it's possible. That it is possible to get that, have them exceed the parents.
And have the nice clustering too.
Yeah, she had a lot of yellow. Her white had like this yellow wash to it. It was really weird.
And this is a male?
No, that's a female.
No. And then how old is she now?
She passed. She didn't she ovulated and had complications trying to lay a clutch.
Oh, she died laying the clutch?
Yeah.
Been there. Terrible. How many eggs did she have in her?
Oh God, it was I think 14 or something. Man, you like to really bring up some trauma, man. I was bummed. That was a nice snake, and I bred her to a nice one from the Ruli line. So that was my first attempt at trying to put the two bloodlines together.
I'm sorry. I forgot I owned the photo, and I'm the one that pulled it up. My bad. The fuck? You sent me the photo, Ryan.
I know, but you didn't have to ask me how many eggs it had.
Yeah. How bad did you get fucked on that deal, Ryan?
How terrible was it?
Did she die in your hands or no?
No. Well, yeah, it was close.
Well, the only reason why I ask is I've had that happen to me. Okay, and I'm only trying to feel better about myself because I, had the same fucking situation with my Vinsky girl. She egg bound. I don't know. She had like 16 eggs in her, and as I got the last one out of her, she croaked right in my hands.
Yeah.
So.
And then the last photo I sent you was just to show the one of the babies that had the white scale on the nose like her dad.
Damn, this is nice right here. But this is literally still changing from yellow to green, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
And that's a sister to that snake you just
look at that powder blue in the tail. That's really nice.
I've also noticed captive bred Aru tend to have more blue on their nose and face.
Oh, look, there's the nose. Yeah, there's a white nose mark right there.
White nose like her dad.
That's so cool.
So I know
$10,000 on Morph Market.
I must put it on auction.
If I could now, it would be worth $10,000 if I could get it on both nostrils at the same time. Then it would be worth a lot. Then I could call it a super cocaine.
No, call it white horse. Call it white horse.
Oh yeah, shit, white horse. Oh my god,
that would be sick. Okay, hold on. So are they all on the same side, like each one, or is it just on the nose?
No, that's I believe her dad has it on the other side.
Okay, so it's possible.
Tony Montana line.
Yeah.
Damn. All right. So listen, we got 30 minutes left. Brian, I don't want
to. Australia.
Yeah,
guys.
I guess we need to talk.
Let's get into it. So Cape York.
They appear to be the smallest chondros on average.
Okay.
And,
so
and then they're basically.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and basically they look like Meraukes. They don't. I mean, for all intents and purposes, they look like Meraukes. There's some subtle things that are a little different. I don't know about the baby tails. I think I saw a picture the other day somebody posted of some captive bred ones, and it didn't look like they had black tails, at least right out of the egg.
I think Aussie types have light colored tails.
Yeah.
When they hatch, but I can't believe that I can't remember that.
You guys didn't send me any pics of these Aussie ones, have you?
Oh man, we suck.
Well, I guess I didn't. I don't like sending other people's pics because I don't know, how they, people sometimes get. I know
any of them on here that you could tell?
Like
this one.
If you Googled wild, that's a wild Aussie.
Let me see if I can pull this one up real quick.
If you see a picture of a wild chondro, it's usually a Cape York chondro.
Okay, and again, those are ones we don't get, correct?
You Google Southern punch in wild or punch in Australian green tree python, you'll get a bunch of
you can get a lot of pictures of wild Australian chondros, way more
than any other chondros.
Yeah. So just Google Australian chondro.
Yeah, Australian green tree python.
Yeah, you'll see Cape York. You'll see a billion pictures of wild ones.
They're by far the most commonly photographed wild chondros. I didn't know they were in two other ranges. The first two, the two that you mentioned are the only two that I knew that they were in.
Yeah, and apparently Dan just posted something where he found Natush posted a picture where he found a chondro in a range he suspected they were, but never documented.
That's right.
I don't know what range that is, and I can't even remember what the other ranges are called. But
here's an interesting thing that I've noticed about, and this could simply be because we've seen so many more pictures of Aussie chondros, but I've seen more pictures of Aussie chondros on the ground than any other type, and I have a possible explanation for that. So I've seen pictures of chondros crossing roads in all of the areas. I've seen pictures of chondros hunting on the ground or 3 inches off of the ground or off of like a rock or something like that, because they do hunt at the ground. But just being coiled up on the ground, I've never seen a picture of a chondro doing that outside of Australia. And what I have seen them doing is that's the place where the one place where they have a legitimate dry season. All of the other chondro localities, it's not like actually dry during the dry season. It just rains less during the dry season. And green tree pythons, that I've seen pictures of them doing this, they'll lay out flat and coil up flat on the ground and collect rainwater in their coils after it's been dry and sit there and drink out of their coils. I'm not saying that's for sure the reason that they ground, but I've seen a picture of a chondro in Australia coiled up on the ground like that, drinking water from its own coils. And it would make sense to me that that could be one of the reasons that we see them actually just coiled up on the ground like that.
Well, or is it a lot? Go ahead, Pat. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ryan.
There's another explanation too, and that is the humans put them there and took the photos of them.
Sure,
like
sure.
And you know, being Australia and having the laws that they have, you have to insinuate every photo you post is how you found the animal, because otherwise, you know. So
I would agree with that on some of them, but the other thing that I would
I'm not saying they don't do it. I'm just saying, you know, it's probably there's probably some
100%.
human connection to that, being that that's where we see most of the herper photos from.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen pictures of chondros coiled up on a branch with the beach in the background, and I'm like, eh.
Yeah. Well, they do. They literally, I've herped for Cape York chondros, and where you are looking for them ends at the beach with the ocean.
Oh, really?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So you literally can find them at the beach. And I can attest to the dry season. When I tried to herp for Australian chondros, the game warden or the park ranger we ran into said, yeah, it hadn't rained in 3 weeks.
Wait, time out. You've herped before, Ryan? You're telling me you've actually gone into the wild and seen a green tree python? For the record, have you done that?
I did it in Indo. I tried in Australia, but I didn't find one in Australia.
Well, you've done it.
I have done it.
Glad we stated that. I'm glad we stated that for the record. But yeah, you know, kind of going back to Australia, you know, it's a lot warmer down there, correct? Could that be another reason why they're on the ground, Pat, to avoid fucking some heat? Or
I think it's colder down there.
Yeah, it's colder down there. They actually experience. It depends on what time of year it is. I think that they have highs that are above average of some chondro localities, but they also have lows that are well below the average nighttime lows of anything that's not a highland locality. It can get down into the 40s at night in the Iron Range during part of the year.
I've heard that. Yeah. Okay. But then they have the hot time of the year too, which is fucking. I heard pretty hot. I heard it's both extremes.
I think that's accurate. I think that's accurate. Quick Google search could tell you that what the average highs are in the Iron Range.
It's just a small. It's not a huge population.
Right. Because as they go
down,
go ahead, Pat.
Oh, as you can say, some of the pictures that I just what we were talking about them being on the ground earlier, like certainly it's very possible that someone could have been placed there, but a lot of the ones that I've seen were like coiled in that like kind of flat pancake resting position, and if you've just snatched a chondro off of a branch, it's not going to coil up like that for you on the ground while you're taking pictures of it.
So like this is what you mean.
Oh, you could get one to do that.
But you can get one to do that, but you couldn't get one to be in the like perfect circle. Like the
like beehive or something.
Like a flat bee, like the way that females beehive, but flattened out instead of raised up.
Yeah. And look, I'm not saying that snake wasn't found like that. I have no idea. I'm just saying that herpers will manipulate animals to get photographs that they want.
100%.
Yeah. Speaking of weather conditions, people are pretty thrown back that you're wearing that much clothing, Patrick. It must be cold in your area.
I've been waiting for somebody to say something.
Andy Bender started it. He said, "Must be cold up north." Patrick has a shirt on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see that. Yeah, and not just a shirt, but a hoodie on. And I actually took the hoodie off, but then I got cold. So I'm at the shop. I've got the. It was 60 something degrees today, or about 60 degrees today, but it's still cold at night. It's going to be 74 tomorrow, but I keep all my brumation stuff is here right now. So everything that needs to get cold for the winter is sitting back in the warehouse, and it'll get down. It got down to 50 back there the other night. So usually it's like upper 50s or lower 60s, but it will get down in the 50s back there.
So Ryan, Cape York, what else we got to say on it?
I mean, I'd love to get back there and look again. Gotta get some plans to go.
Is there anything on the calendar yet, or not?
not for Cape York.
Okay, well, let me ask you that. How much preparation goes into a trip like that? Like, if you really want to plan it, how many months in advance is ideal, you think, Ryan? Like, how do you do it?
I mean, I usually don't book my tickets till, a
The week
couple
of or
months
what?
before.
Okay.
No, not that quick, but Cape York, you have to cross rivers. You have to drive through rivers to get there, and you have to go between the dry season and the wet season. There's a window of when you can get up there, and rental car companies don't like you taking cars up there, so they're very.
I'm sure.
I think they cut you off October 1st. No cars going north, something like that.
Because of the water, how high the waters are, or what?
Yeah, in case the wet season starts while you're up there. If the wet season starts while you're up there, you're leaving the car there and you're flying home.
Last time you went, it wasn't during the wet season, right?
No, I went and we went right after October. It was early October and it was bone dry. Hadn't started raining yet, and we didn't see very much anything.
Oh, okay, so that wasn't the trip where you were by rivers where there's man-eating saltwater crocodiles, or like remember there's
no. Well, the rivers. There's still crocs in the rivers, but not. You're talking of Cahill's Crossing over by Darwin and Kakadu.
How far is that from Cape York?
Oh, thousands of miles.
Oh, so that's like way farther.
On the other side, yeah.
And what about you, Pat? Obviously, I think traveling so much in your future, but like, where is it that you want to go, Pat? Like when it comes to looking at green trees, like what's
West Papua and Raja Ampat, no question.
Right.
Well, you should do it. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah. Everything about Raja Ampat is amazing. It's a fucking literally like one of the most beautiful paradises on the planet, and there's some of the best snorkeling and diving in the world. Parts of West Papua are also like the #1 travel destinations for birds, butterflies, bats, just so much wildlife. But yeah, I would love to go see chondros either, in the Volgograd Peninsula or out in the islands in Raja Ampat. So
I can't
and Misul and all that.
I can't stress it enough how cool it is to watch a black-tip reef shark charging bait balls over the reef while you're sitting there watching a black palm cockatoo fly over. So.
Oh my gosh.
Cool. I've seen plenty of black-tip reef sharks in my day, but never seen a wild black palm cockatoo.
And then you look out in the jungle and you think, man, my python is out there. I just got to go find it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and I've eaten black-tip reef shark and it was fantastic. So I wouldn't mind snatching one and grilling it up so we get fueled up to go catch.
No, man, it's some of the places you literally sleep on these huts over the reef, like the reef. Yeah. You can hear sharks chasing bait under you while you're sleeping at night. It's crazy, and you look out. You can go out with a flashlight and watch all the reef fish with you just sitting there on the deck. Just with your flashlight, you can see big batfish and cuttlefish and all the nightlife that it's just something else. You're not live till you do.
The only thing that sucks about going on a trip like that is that you have to sleep at some point.
No, you'll be tired enough that sleep ain't hard.
No, I know, but I wouldn't want to. I'd want to be awake the entire time to see all the night stuff and all the daytime stuff.
I can't believe you're talking about eating shark with Delic in the building, dude. That's kind of fucking crazy, Pat.
I've told her. I know how she feels about it.
I will say Mako shark's the best shark I've ever had. But I like sharks though. I don't think I'd ever eat a shark.
I love sharks, and I don't think I could eat a Mako. I feel like the black tip reef sharks are like the feeder fish of sharks.
Really? Oh, jeez. Okay.
They're little bitty things, and they're super common all over the place. A Mako, I have a problem with it's like maybe eating a Mako would be like eating a tiger or something. No way. There's no way.
Well, it's bomb. I gotta tell you, out of all the shark I've had, that right there is that's like the fucking filet mignon of shark Mako. It's really, really bomb. I remember
they have really good diets. They eat like tuna and shit. So.
Yeah, no shit, huh?
Well, listen, if somebody serves it to you, somebody's gonna eat it, so you may as well eat it.
Yeah.
You don't want to throw it away, then it's a real waste.
But your adjustment with eating food on these adventures are pretty chill, Ryan, or do you bring your own stuff? What do you do?
No, I used to eat. Yeah. Well,
You just eat it?
yeah, there wasn't a ton there. You basically survived off eggs and rice and fish. There
I'm
wasn't
down for
much.
that.
Yeah,
Wasn't much,
Pat's cool with
I
and
that.
know what I
small
eat all the
little
time
small
anyways.
bananas and stuff. So
Yeah. Eggs, meat,
What
and fruit is like most of my diet all the time anyway. So.
yeah, no, you'd be fine.
what's the roughest part when it comes to like looking for chondros in the wild? Or where do you feel like the harshest areas are?
The plane ride getting there.
No. I meant like if you want to search for a certain species, like where are you going to be putting in the most work at? You feel like?
I mean, look, we didn't get lucky. We saw one the last night, so it was tough to find. But that is not usually the case, from my understanding. They're usually not as hard to find as that one turned out to be. So, it's the reality is it's still luck. You have to be there, put in the time, and hope you find one. You can get skunked. I didn't find one in Iron Range, and most people I know that have gone have found one. But I just happened to be there for 4 days when the weather just had been shit, wasn't going to be better, and it just is what it is. So
That wasn't the trip you found the white lip, was it?
that was the same trip I found the chondro, yeah.
Oh, okay, right.
But
All right. Well, we talked good on Cape York, or is there anything else we need to talk on before we move on?
yeah, I guess they're all yellow babies. Most of the babies have very little pattern, seems like, and I think they're the smallest chondros on average.
Pat?
Yeah, that's where we get a lot of the data about hunting habits. Of a lot of the stuff that we get about wild chondros is actually Australian stuff, and I always wonder how transferable that information is to other localities. And the stuff that we get about hunting habits. I've had guys tell me this, and I've seen pictures and videos that have never been posted publicly of neonate chondros hunting 3 inches off of the ground, and then they climb back up to like chest height or head height if they're not successful, and roost at night, and then they go back down in the morning and hunt again, and if they're successful they may go up like a little bit higher than they would have if they weren't, and they'll digest. And I think it was Matt Somerville that told me that he had seen the same baby chondro catch a skink that was insanely huge, and then the exact same snake eating another skink like 4 days later.
Well, yeah. I mean, you remember that photo you shared about that chondro eating its fellow fucking tub mate, and then it ate the hopper on top of that, didn't it?
Yeah, that one chondro ate a hopper, and then also ate another chondro that was about the same size as it was, and that chondro had a hopper in its belly too. So that Biak had 2 hoppers that were appropriately sized meals, and just the 2 hoppers, somebody would have seen the bulge and be like, "Oh my God, you overfed the snake." But it had 2 hoppers and a whole other chondro that was roughly the same size as it was, and it didn't even regurge. It digested all of that and was totally fine. I'm not saying that's normal. I told him when he told me what happened, and I looked at it, I said, the snake's going to regurge or it's going to die. I was wrong. It digested that meal and was totally fine. But that's why
chondros have a huge gape. Like, they are clearly designed to be able to eat big prey items.
Absolutely.
I recommend it in captivity based on you give it a huge prey item, and then 10 days later or 7 days later give it another huge, and that's not normal.
No, that's
not normal.
So that's the problem, is why you wouldn't recommend feeding jumbo rats to big chondros. It's not because they can't do it. It's because you're going to do that too much and make that thing too big.
Yeah.
I fed a colossal rat to a scrub python. I mean, she's 11 feet long, but she's, an 11-foot scrub is like her girth is like my wrist or something, right? I gave her a colossal rat that one of my buddies gave me. Sony gave me a bunch of colossals that he didn't need anymore. And I knew she could handle it, but it was like one of the biggest rats I've ever seen in my life. She disappeared into her cork tube and went into a shed cycle immediately, and I didn't see her for like a month after she fucking ate that big ass rat.
Yeah, you know what's
Like,
crazy?
no joke, like a month.
My Exantic, dude. Remember my Exantic Malukin that Carly owns now?
Yeah.
Actually, she's there on the loan, but yeah. So I told you what happened with that tongue. Remember, she had that mouth, fucking that throat thing, and it literally. I remember I had her on mediums, and then Kush was like, she's probably ready to get bumped up in size, but she just wasn't really she wasn't as big as the male, that's for sure. But I gave her, I think, an XL rat or maybe a large rat, which I can't remember if she fucking puked it up, which I'm sure she did, but I wasn't sure if she shit it out or puked it up. It just looked really like digested, right? So, but then I think what happened was something about that rat caused that issue in her fucking throat. And again, that's why I was so pissed about like feeding bigger than I should, because I wanted to get that female, like, you know, where I saw ready for breeding. And right when I gave her something too big, and I've given Scrub some big fucking rats before, it's never been an issue, but it was an issue this time. And so, but luckily she recovered, right?
Yeah, and you know, maybe that's what caused it, and maybe not. But even if it was, that wouldn't be a normal thing. I mean, we see Australian scrub pythons eating fucking wallabies and kangaroos and shit. Yeah, so
that's true.
You know, they can handle insanely huge meals. And same with chondros. Like wild chondros are, you know, on average, wild adult chondros are 400, 500, 600, 700 grams, and they are eating rats. They're the staple in their diet are rats that are, as adults, are the size of a small to medium rat. That's just what they eat in the wild. And
I saw a bunch of the rodent they eat in the wild, and they're like a giant soft-furred rat.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I love feeding ASF, because I feel like ASF in structure and size are like this. That's what chondros are eating in the wild.
Oh yeah, if you had to pick, like if you were just keeping chondros and there was a perfect rodent to feed chondros, it would probably be ASFs.
ASF.
Do both of you guys breed ASF?
I used to, but I don't have any anymore.
Here's something that I ran into with ASF for chondros, and I don't know if anybody else has ever experienced this before, but and it happened twice, so I just stopped doing it. My retired breeders, I will no longer feed to a chondro because they regurge them. Not every time.
That's fact. That's cap. I literally just fed off 6 retired ASFs to all my adult females.
Well, okay, I know, but I've done it multiple times, and I got regurges in 2 different rooms from multiple females. And but the thing is that these were, back when I did that, I was waiting way longer to retire my breeders, and they were like these mega fat things. And I'll tell you this, dude, I fed 2 of them to an adult male Brettles python, and it took forever. It wasn't an exceptionally large meal for this snake at all, and it took forever for that lump to move down in him. And Brettles can hand massive meals too. So I think it's just whatever I'm feeding them and the fat content that they're developing as you know, that they're accumulating as they get to that age. And now I knock off my breeders much younger than I was back then, but I have 2 times had rounds of regurge from multiple adult female chondros in 2 different rooms after feeding them my big old fat flabby ass retired breeder ASF.
When I did do ASFs, they seemed like they were more dense.
They are dense
than a rat or a mouse of similar size. Like,
and the snake doesn't, and the snake shits aren't that big. Like they actually hold on to a lot of that fucking animal versus just shitting it all out like a normal rat shit would be like.
I think they probably have more muscle and less fur.
So it might just be harder to break down.
That's why I'm such a fan of them, because I'm like, dude, look at that. Look how perfect this shit looks compared to like some of these nasty rat fucking bowel movements that you have. And again, I'm just going based off not only the adults, but everything I hatched out last year have been on ASFs. And I've never seen such perfect shits from so many baby chondros. They're like ropes and they're fully formed. Everything I want to see in a shit, I'm getting from ASFs. And that's why in my head, I'm like, there's no better diet rodent out there than an ASF. So, and again, this is just, you know, our own experience.
I wish I was producing. I should produce more and feed more of the. I usually raise up the majority of mine and feed them to my juvenile and subadult and adult chondros. Then I do the babies, and I should probably crank it up and feed more baby ASF to my
especially a first prey item, a first time meal for a chondro should be a fucking day old ASF that has hair on it, dude. Like I had really good results with that last year, and I don't think I'm gonna change.
Yeah, it's a cost thing for me. I'm looking at how much does a pinky mouse cost me versus how much does the equivalent size rodent that I'm feeding off when I'm feeding larger ASF. So like that's the thing that I'm factoring in. I really should just crank up my ASF production a little bit.
Crank them up, dude. And then Ryan, what's up with you? How come you don't want to fuck with ASFs?
For whatever reason, I just never had great consistency. It's like I would get a shitload and then I would get nothing for a long time. And
what were you feeding them?
And that's the problem. I think I was just feeding them lab diet. So I think
I wasn't
doing it right.
When you say a long time, like what do you mean? Like 2 months or 6 months or like what kind of cycle?
I guess I can't even. It's probably been a decade since I did it. But I can't. I think it was more just like I would raise them up that first litter. All the moms would pop. There'd be tons of babies. And then those babies would all wean. And I still wouldn't have pinkies for weeks and weeks and weeks again. Mine do seem to kind of have longer cycles than other rodents that I've bred. And I do tend to get these like kind of fluctuations in how prolific they're being. And they're also less consistent. Every once in a while, I'll slap a colony together and I end up youthing them off because they're just not a super productive colony.
Where are you feeding
them? So mine get, as a base diet, they're getting sometimes Missouri, but usually the Kalmbach feed. So that's what goes on top of their racks. But then they, like this morning, they got sweet potato, asparagus, banana peels. Like I give them the cuttings off of the bottoms of my asparagus.
You want the secret recipe to get these things cracking? Because my production is through the roof.
Black sunflower.
Okay.
Yep.
I feed them I feed them black sunflower seed, black oil sunflower seeds.
I'm not done. Let me finish. High protein cat food. High protein. You don't need that Coleman box shit. Kick that shit to the curb. High protein cat food. I'll give you the one I get from Walmart. So cheap. And the black seeds, like every other feeding. I don't give them black seeds all the time, but I also give them hard-boiled eggs. Like I spoil these fuckers, dude. I give them good stuff. And I promise you, dude, shout out to KG from Bomb Projects, but he's the one that told me, because I at first was like, dude, these suck. Like I can't get them going. But once I did exactly what he told me, dude, I'm telling you right now, my shit's boom.
I used to supplement with cat food because I got a shitload of cat food for free, and so that was part of what I was giving them. And I have had people tell me that when they increased the protein intake, that they were getting better breeding results with them. I also, for protein, I'll buy, mine are all spoiled too. I'll buy these giant bags of freeze-dried mealworms, and I'll mix that in with their bird seed. They get wild bird seed, they get black oil sunflower seed, they get this really fancy chicken feed. But the Kalmbach or the Missouri, that's their, like what goes on top of the racks. Everything else goes directly into the tubs, and they get something supplemental at least 4 times a week.
Guess how much I pay for a 50-pound bag of high protein cat food?
How much?
$17.99. Okay, all right, and that fucking thing lasts me about 2 weeks. All right, so I'm telling you, you don't need to spend that much money on ASF feed. Just try it out, dude. I promise you.
Do you have trouble with them chewing out?
No, fuck
like
no.
Escaping?
Yeah, no.
Chewing out of the tub. They used to buzzsaw out of my tubs, and I actually built a rack with stainless steel tubs that I still have out in the.
If they could chew on something, they're gonna chew. But also, I kill. If I have a chewer in a colony, they're done. If I see anything that's chewing, I fucking instantly murk them. Or what I've had done before, because it does keep them busy. You just put like a piece of like a 2x4 or something like there, and they'll just use it to chomp. Or what I like to do also is I give them corn on the cob. I fucking throw some corn on the cob in there, and they just go ape shit on it, and you don't ever see them chewing on anything else.
Oh man, they buzzsawed out of so many tubs. I was like, fuck these things. I built a rack with stainless steel tubs.
I've never had them chew out of a Vision tub, but I have tried a couple of different types of tubs for grow outs, and they just like immediately chewed a big asshole right through it. I've had them had them escape from other types of tubs. But I've had zero issues with I keep them in a vision rack for my main colonies, and then my grow out colonies and the colonies that are queued up to be rotated in, they're in smaller, like rodent breeding tubs with a little wire on top of them.
Yeah.
And,
I did get my first colonies that I got from this guy. He gave me, I'm pretty sure he did it on purpose, fucker, but he gave me a bunch of chewers. Like, these fuckers were chewing like a motherfucker. So, what happened was, like I said, I just put them, I would get babies for them, hold them back, and I would still get like chewers even within the colonies, but eventually I stopped getting so many chewers just by holding back new production and getting rid of the fucked up ones. You do that with rats too, because you have rats that will try to chew and you just instantly fucking murk them. Like, don't even fuck around if you see a chewer, you know?
Well, the last time I had them, I was back when I was doing rodents commercially. And so I always wondered if having, 10,000 mice in the same building as them, if that was,
Freak them out.
if they didn't like that.
I got my rats and ASFs right next to each other. It's not, I actually got mice too. I got mice production as well. And the mice go crazy, to be honest. The mice are the ones where, like, I'm careful opening up the bin because they're so fast and they're producing quicker than fucking anything right now.
What do you got your ASFs in? What tub?
I got the Freedom Breeder tubs. I forget the size. They're big enough to where you could put rats in them, but I use them for the ASFs. But they're just Freedom Breeder tubs that I got Home Depot fucking wood and just built a rack for those tubs. Well, my buddy Nick did, and it worked out great. Those tubs are fucking so thick and durable, man. Like, those aren't easy to do.
15.5 by 21.5 by 5 inches tall.
Yep. But all right, boys, listen, we're at the end of this episode, but I do want to kind of go around the horn. I want to make sure we got everything. If there's any closing statements from either one of you, we'll start with Pat. But great episode, Pat. Anything you want to close off with tonight?
Just kind of something that I said earlier, that, like, when I've told people that I don't really keep Southerns, or that they're my least favorite, or this, Ryan will love this, they're my least favorite thing to outcross to anything else. But
yeah, they're better off here. It makes sense that they're better off as is. I will admit that for sure. I don't know why you would want to muddy down something that looks that good. I won't lie to you.
Well, they F2 RUB outcrosses can be fucking ridiculously amazing.
I take back everything I just said.
There's some of the coolest designers have come from crossing the Walsh Blue to Meraukes stuff. But since I got these Meraukes a year, 15 months ago or whatever it was, I'm just completely in love with them, dude. They're just incredible, man. And the shade of green that they are is not like anything else. It's not even like Aru. It's it's just such a unique thing. And I absolutely adore them. I really, really hope that I'm going to be able to produce those. And I've got a big adult female Aru right now, and I have a young one that was supposed to be female that actually looks male. And I think I'll have do a pure Aru pairing in the future as well. So I'm enjoying keeping Southerns more than I ever have.
And the hobby just needs more of them. That's a fact.
Yes.
Yep. All right. Awesome. Well, Ryan, send us home, buddy. Anything you want to close off with? Great episode.
Southerns are cool, and even Marshall Mendez wants some Arus. So.
Oh man.
I don't know. To me, an Aru that has everything, the blue, the white, that's hard to beat. That's so hard to beat.
You're not lying. You're really not, man. And again, man, this is a good example as far as, the potential with everything. Pat made a good point. Nobody's really, other than you, Ryan, right? No one's really taken the time to fucking generationally breed these to the point to see what we could do with them. And that just goes with other localities or subspecies as well. So it's kind of what makes these series so exciting, is because the future, like, we're going to see some amazing shit in the next few years. We really are, because, we think we know everybody's working with everything, but we really don't. There's some people working with some sick shit out there that are just staying low key. And not everybody shares everything. But with time, I think with people doing with more with what Ryan's doing, and like Pat's talking about doing a pure Aru pairing, that's ideal, I feel like, and I think that's exciting. So good episode, boys. I really was happy with chapter 2.
Thanks.
All right, Pat, Arboreal Obsessions on IG, and then Instagram. I'm sorry, Facebook. No, GTP Patrick. I don't know. Why do you have those two separate ones? Why did you do that? I'm confused.
I'm probably going to make a couple more and confuse you even worse. Because some people don't want to look at my face.
I do.
So I made an all snake page. The other one came first. You know what's cool about that? I don't ever like push for followers or like do any of the things that Instagram wants me to do to get a bunch of followers. All of my followers are 100% just organic. That Arboreal Obsession page had 500 followers before I ever posted a single picture on it, which I thought was just super fucking cool. But yeah, Arboreal_Obsession on Instagram, and gtpatrick.tx is my other Instagram, but we're all here for the snakes. So
awesome. What about you, Ryan? Where can people hit you up at?
I'm easy to find, unlike Patrick. It's either my name or my business name, Molecular Reptile. You Google it, you'll find me in one of the ways. So pretty easy.
Or you could find him here on the very first Thursday of the month. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Thursday, right? Yeah, Thursday. We do this every first Thursday of the month. Chapter 3. What's next on the agenda, dude? You know, Ryan. Oh, shit. Dude.
Yes.
Having to fucking fake this excitement for Yale Neonates. I'm so happy it's over. I'm just kidding.
You don't have to fake it for Poker, because Poker have the best yellows.
I know, but they got better reds. They got better reds. Oh, we all know.
I don't know.
Red poulters are filthy, but yeah, listen, listen, all love. I was kidding. It wasn't hard for me to like yellows. This was actually very like, I'm convinced more why yellows are important, even though I already knew they are. I'm telling you right here, this right here will make any designer guy respect yellows. I swear to God. So
now, do I share all my weird Poker? Because I have a bunch of Poker that don't look like real Poker.
Yeah,
so
you have to.
I don't know if that's wise to post those pictures, because that's not a normal Poker.
Yeah, now you're trying to
see all the weirdos.
Now you're trying to Epstein files this shit. You can't do that, dude. You got to put them out. You got to show the document.
I like to keep some stuff to myself. I like to have my own.
Well, you can send them to me, and I won't share, because I want to see all the weirdos. And MJ, I just hope that your DMs are ready for the Poulter spam that I'm going to send your way for the next one.
Yeah, okay. But how about you send them correctly, please? Don't send them in.
I know. That's why I'm saying I hope you're ready for it, because it's going to be a 6-mile long thread of individual fucking pictures.
Well, Ryan did the same thing, so it's okay. But yeah, you guys are amazing. Be ready for that next episode. But for now, guys, give it up. It's a wrap for Patrick Holmes and my man, Ryan Young. Ladies and gentlemen.
Good job.
Have a good night, boys. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you guys soon. All right.
Thank you.
Take care.
Right. Peace out. Great episode, chapter 2 in the books. If you enjoyed this episode, before you go enjoy the rest of your evening, please hit the like button. This episode deserves all the likes it could possibly get. So like button smash. If you enjoyed this episode, smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. Select all. You'll be notified, reminded of every episode released out of the network, because we are 7 days a week. That's right. We have been 7 days a week. So I appreciate all the love and support. And again, please check out all my sponsors in the description below. And I'll catch you here for what's tomorrow. One Nation Under Herps, Dave Levinson and Junior from JMG, man. But thank you again. Check out all my sponsors in the link in the description below. Have a good night, and I'll see you at the top. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Shout out to tonight's sponsor, and that's the one and only Morph Market and Morph Market Shipping. One of the biggest exciting things about the reptile hobby over the past couple years is Morph Market Shipping taking everything to the next level. Anything as far as reptile purchasing or selling needs can all be done on Morph Market's website. So I highly suggest you go check it out, especially if you're in the market of purchasing your first, second, or third, or fourth reptile. You can find a bunch of legitimate breeders on Morph Market's platforms. They stand very tall on representing the best breeders we have in the hobby. So don't look anywhere else when it comes to looking for your new reptile. Not to mention, if you're looking for aquatics or your next plant, Morph Market's a spot for you as well. Make sure you head over to morphmarket.com. And the best thing about Morph Market's platform, you could ship directly from their website with Morph Market shipping. Morph Market shipping has saved this hobby millions of dollars as a whole. I myself saved thousands with Morph Market shipping last year due to their insanely cheap rates. So definitely go take advantage of these rates on top of the amazing customer service that comes along with Morph Market shipping. Shout out to Darian and Zach, and shout out to the entire Morph Market team. So proud to be a part of this team. Thank you so much for Morph Market shipping and Morph Market. So excited to announce this partnership, and so excited to announce new Morph Market features that are going to be hitting the reptile hobby real soon, like live sales on Morph Market. Thank you so much, Morph Market and Morph Market shipping. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Mark Hager over at Texas Chondros. If you want to talk to somebody who likes to put people on the map, you have to go follow TX Chondros on Instagram. He has put on some of the biggest breeders out in Texas out on his platform on Instagram. Also displays some of his own amazing projects on his Instagram. You could also simply go to his website, see what pairings he has going on for this season, and also see his previous productions. Mark has been working with yellow neonates on top of red neonates, and his passion for this hobby is second to none. He's also mentored a lot of people like myself. So thank you so much, Mark Hager, for all your support. And if you guys really want to know how it is about building a community, then you got to go check out Texas Chondros. Thank you so much, Texas Chondros, for all your support. Cannot wait to see what you're all about in the 2026 breeding season. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Shout out to tonight's sponsor, Workshop Reptilium. Josh Hansen is doing things different over in his facility. He has one of the most diverse, beautiful reptile collections currently in the reptile hobby today, but he is doing things differently when it comes to enclosures, thinking outside the box, giving these reptiles bigger enclosures. I feel like it's something this hobby needs. So a lot of exciting stuff to come from Workshop Reptilium. I'm going to be flying up to his place to give you guys a deeper look into his facility, and I'm also excited to have an episode with Josh so he can explain himself where his goals are headed when it comes to keeping. Thank you so much, Josh Hansen over at Workshop Reptilium. Make sure you head over to Instagram, make sure you head over to Facebook. Also, make sure you subscribe to him on YouTube. You can find all the links in the description below. Again, thank you so much, Josh, over at Workshop Reptilium. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Tonight's episode is brought to you by David Brahms from the Reptile Perch. If you have an arboreal species, you definitely want to make sure you are using a David Brahms design perch over at the Reptile Perch. You can get any size perch you want for any size arboreal, anywhere from hatchlings all the way from adults. Everything you see behind me is on a David Brahms design PVC perch. So thank you so much to the Reptile Perch for doing everything that you've been doing with these awesome, affordable perches for people to take advantage of. And you can find David Brahms' website in the description below. Simply go to www.reptileperch.com or just go to Reptile Perch on Instagram, and you can also see many of David's awesome green tree python projects. He's also a highly successful green tree python breeder, been looking up to for the last few years as well. So to have his support really means the world to me. Thank you so much, David Brahms over at the Reptile Perch. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors.
For over a decade, we've pursued a singular vision: producing the finest breeding stock the hobby has ever seen. From carefully planned pairings to thoughtfully designed environments, every detail is considered. And when you bring one of our animals home, you're not on your own. We provide lifetime husbandry support every step of the way. Whether you're building your first enclosure or expanding your collection, we're here for you. Sundown Reptiles.
Thank you for all the fellow support. Thank you so much for anyone who watches the Trap Talk Reptile Network. Hit that like button. If you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, you'll be notified of every new episode dropping here out of the network 7 days a week. And also by hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, it pushes this network out to other new keepers coming into the hobby. So by you doing that, it does more than you think. So thank you so much again for all the support. And if you're not already a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button. We're doing big things over here and we really appreciate it.